Success is not hard, not because life is unfair, not because you don't have talent, not because the world is against you. Success is hard because you wake up every day without a system, a structure that forces you to move forward even when you don't feel like it. You've been told to just work harder or stay motivated, but no one ever told you why you keep starting over, why you keep hitting walls that feel impossible to break. You wake up motivated one day, full of energy and ambition, telling yourself, this time will be different. You make a plan, you dream big, you visualize success, you even take action for a few hours or maybe a day. But by the evening, something shifts. The energy fades, distractions creep in, temptations pull you off track. And before you know it, your plan is just another forgotten note on your desk. You've watched other people succeed, people who seem less talented, less intelligent, less disciplined than you, and it hits like a punch to the gut. Why not me? You ask yourself. You see them move forward, making progress, building wealth, confidence, and influence, while you feel stuck, repeating the same cycle, trapped in your own habits. And that's the real pain. Not that you aren't capable, not that you lack desire. The pain is that you're capable, but you're inconsistent. The pain is that you want change, but you haven't built the framework that forces change. Every failed attempt chips away at your confidence. Every delay makes regret grow louder, and every tomorrow I'll start becomes another year wasted. This isn't just about motivation. Motivation is fleeting. It's unreliable, like a flame in the wind. You can't depend on feeling inspired because feelings change. Some days you feel unstoppable. Other days, even the simplest task feels impossible. And if your life depends on how you feel, you will always fall short. Here's the truth most people will never tell you. Success isn't about working harder, dreaming bigger, or waiting for the right moment. It's about building a system that works even when you're tired, a system that works even when you're scared, a system that forces consistency, focus, and action, no matter how you feel. Imagine waking up every morning knowing exactly what you need to do. No guessing, no relying on motivation, no hesitation. Imagine having a structure so strong that even the hardest days can't stop your progress. Imagine a life where every step you take compounds into real results, real growth, and real transformation. That life isn't for the lucky. It's for the people who commit to building the right system. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to stop relying on fleeting motivation, stop repeating cycles of starting and quitting, and start building a system that forces you to succeed. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what it takes to go from being inconsistent and frustrated to unstoppable and disciplined. But first, you need to open your mind, face the truth, and be honest with yourself. Are you ready to stop making excuses and start building your system? Before we dive in, consider subscribing to this channel. If you're ready to stop relying on motivation, stop repeating cycles of starting and quitting, and start building a system that actually forces results, this is the place to be. Hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss the next videos that will guide you step by step to transform your habits and your life. Now let's talk about why success feels so hard, why you keep struggling, and why it hasn't worked for you so far. Look at your life right now. Really look. Think about the mornings where you wake up excited, full of energy and ambition. You tell yourself, today I'm going to get it done. Today is the day everything changes. You write down your goals. You make a plan. You even feel motivated, like you finally have the fire that will carry you forward. But hours later, it's gone. By the evening, you're distracted. You scroll your phone. You watch other people's progress online. You make excuses. You push the work aside. You promise yourself, I'll do it tomorrow, and tomorrow turns into the next day, then the next week, then the next month, and the cycle repeats. That's the tension. That's why so many people fail. Not because they lack ambition, not because they don't know what to do, but because they lack a system that makes them act regardless of how they feel. Motivation is a flame. It burns brightly in the beginning, but it doesn't last. It flickers, it dies, and when it does, everything falls apart. Ask yourself, how many times have you started something new with excitement, only to watch it crumble a few days or weeks later? How many times have you set goals, only to abandon them without understanding why? That's not just frustration. That's the pain of inconsistency. That's the trap most people live in, the trap of depending on feelings to drive action. Think about the consequences. 1 year from now, if you continue to act based on how you feel, where will you be? Likely in the same place, facing the same struggles, the same missed opportunities, the same regret that sits in your chest every night, whispering, "I could have done more. I should have started earlier. I had the chance." It's not just a warning, it's a mirror, and the reflection is brutal, because deep down you know you are capable. You know you can achieve more, but the absence of a system, a structure that forces you to act, is keeping you stuck. Without structure, every day becomes a gamble. You rely on energy, motivation, and luck, and those are the least reliable things in the world. Here's the reality you need to face. Life does not wait for you to feel ready. Life doesn't pause until you are motivated. Opportunities will pass. People will move forward. And if you keep waiting for the perfect moment or the right feeling, you will always be behind. The truth is uncomfortable, but it's also liberating. If you are consistent, if you act daily and deliberately, the results will follow. But if you remain reactive, waiting for circumstances to line up, you will always be stuck in frustration. Let's examine what's really happening. You start projects with energy, but energy alone cannot carry you. You rely on bursts of motivation instead of building habits that function on autopilot. You expect that feeling ready will produce results, but feelings are unpredictable, unstable. Some days you feel unstoppable. Other days, even the smallest task feels impossible. And if your life is built on how you feel, you will never move forward consistently. That inconsistency is the real pain, the part nobody talks about. You're capable, talented, maybe even more ambitious than most people around you. But you haven't learned the secret. Structure beats willpower. Systems beat motivation. Discipline beats desire. Without a system that automates action, the strongest intentions collapse under pressure. You can want success with all your heart, but without daily action, it will slip through your fingers. Picture yourself in 1 year. Imagine waking up, realizing nothing has changed. Your habits are the same. Your results are the same. The regret is louder now. You know you had the potential to break free. You had the drive, the ideas, the time, but the structure was missing. That tension, the gap between what you could have been and what you allowed yourself to become, is crushing. It's invisible to the world, but you feel it every day. And this is where most people give up. They say, "I'll try again next week. I'll wait until I feel ready." But here's the truth. That tomorrow never comes. It's a lie you tell yourself. Success doesn't wait for motivation. Success waits for action. The good news is you can break this cycle. You can take control. But first, you must understand the tension you're in. You must feel it fully. You must see it in your life. Because only when the discomfort of staying the same outweighs the fear of taking control will you finally commit. And that's exactly what we're going to fix. By the end of this video, you will see why motivation is unreliable, why habits fail without structure, and how building a system, even one small step at a time, will change everything. But first, reflect. Look at your life. Ask yourself honestly, where have I been giving in to convenience instead of building a system? Where have I relied on motivation instead of structure? And where will I be in a year if I don't act now? That tension, the pain, the regret, the awareness is your first step toward transformation. Lean into it. Let it fuel you. Because once you understand this tension, once you feel it in your bones, you will never allow yourself to go back to random, inconsistent, reactionary living again. Now, let's talk about authority. The kind of authority that cannot be ignored. The kind that has guided leaders, warriors, and thinkers for centuries. I'm talking about the Stoics. Philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus. Men who lived in times far harsher than ours, yet whose principles are more relevant today than ever. The Stoics understood something that most people never grasp. You cannot control outcomes, but you can control your actions. Think about that for a second. You can't control success. You can't control luck. You can't control timing, circumstances, or other people, but you can control what you do every single day. That's the power the world rarely teaches you, the kind of power most people ignore while they chase fleeting motivation or wait for the perfect moment. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Imagine the weight of that statement. He's not saying, "You will succeed automatically." He's saying that all the excuses you tell yourself, all the waiting for the right feeling, all the blame you place on circumstances, they don't matter. What matters is what you do consistently. Your actions, your habits, your discipline, these are what shape your life. Consider Epictetus, a man born into slavery, confined and powerless in the eyes of the world. Yet he achieved freedom, not in the physical sense, but in the mastery of his own mind. He said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Think about that. You cannot control the challenges that come your way. You cannot prevent failure, setbacks, or hard days, but you can control your reaction. You can decide to act anyway, to stick to your system, to push forward even when everything inside you says to stop. And then there's Seneca, who warned about the passage of time, saying, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Pause here and reflect. How much of your life has been wasted because you waited for the right mood, for the right feeling, for motivation that never lasted? Every delay, every procrastinated task, every day spent doing less than you could, Seneca calls that waste. And that waste accumulates quietly, invisibly, until years have passed and you realize, where did the time go? Here's the core truth the Stoics teach. Freedom, progress, and growth are not given. They are earned through disciplined, repeated action. And this is exactly what most people miss. They wait for the perfect conditions, the perfect mindset, the perfect moment. But those things rarely exist. Marcus Aurelius didn't wait for the perfect day to practice discipline. Epictetus didn't wait for comfort or opportunity. They built systems of action that made them unstoppable no matter what happened around them. Now, let's bring this back to you. Imagine your life as it is right now. You have potential. You have ideas. You have skills and ambition. But there's chaos in your days. You rely on emotion to act. You wait for motivation. You hope the world will cooperate. And what happens? You start and stop. You dream and delay. You make plans and abandon them. And all of that could be avoided with one principle the Stoics mastered. Focus only on what you can control and act relentlessly on it. Think about it. You cannot control your energy level. You cannot control distractions around you. You cannot control whether inspiration strikes. But you can control your schedule, your daily routines, your environment, and most importantly, your choices in each moment. Every day, every hour, every minute is an opportunity to act on what you can control. And that's where power comes from. That's where freedom comes from. That's where systems are born. The Stoics also teach us to embrace discomfort, not avoid it. They didn't seek easy paths, and neither should you. Marcus Aurelius would rise before dawn to study, to train, to reflect, knowing the day ahead would be difficult. Epictetus endured physical and social hardship without giving in to excuses. The lesson is clear. Comfort does not produce greatness. Consistency and discipline do. Every time you avoid the hard task, every time you choose convenience over growth, you move further from your potential. Every day that passes without action is wasted potential. And that tension you feel inside, that frustration, is your mind telling you the truth. Here's another key insight from the Stoics. They understood identity. You don't become a disciplined, successful person by wishing for it. You become that person through repeated action. Seneca said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Excellence isn't something you feel. It isn't a burst of energy. It isn't waiting for motivation. Excellence is a system, a daily practice that builds who you are one choice at a time. Now pause and reflect for a moment. Look at your life. Where are you waiting for permission to act? Where are you relying on emotion, hoping motivation will carry you? Where are you avoiding discomfort instead of facing it? The Stoics would say, stop. Stop blaming circumstances. Stop waiting. Stop hoping. Take control of the only thing you truly own, your action. Build a system that makes success inevitable. And here's the key cinematic truth for your audience. Every great human being who ever lived mastered this principle. They acted daily, deliberately, and relentlessly on what they could control. They didn't wait for inspiration. They didn't hope for a perfect mood. They built structures, systems that ensured progress no matter what. That's what separates dreamers from doers. That's what separates the stuck from the unstoppable. And that's why this step, the Stoic authority moment, is so important. When you see life through the lens of Stoic wisdom, all excuses disappear. When you internalize that you control your actions, and only your actions, you begin to build the foundation for a system that will carry you forward every single day. Before we start, take a deep breath. Lean in, listen carefully, because what I'm about to say could change how you approach every single day. Motivation feels like a powerful force. You've felt it before. Maybe it woke you up one morning with fire in your chest. Maybe it made you believe that today you could conquer everything. And for a moment, it was intoxicating. You felt unstoppable. You felt alive. You felt like nothing could stop you. But here's the truth. That feeling is temporary. Motivation is not a foundation, it's a spark. And sparks burn bright, then die. They flicker, they fade. And if your entire life depends on that flicker, if your success depends on motivation alone, you will always be inconsistent. You will start, you will stop, you will restart, and then stop again. Think about the last time you felt truly motivated. Maybe you had a goal, a plan, a mission. Maybe you woke up early, wrote down your tasks, and felt like you were unstoppable. Maybe you even acted for hours, maybe even a day or two, and then it vanished. What happened next? You procrastinated. You got distracted. You gave in to convenience. You told yourself, I'll continue tomorrow, knowing deep down that tomorrow often never comes. That's the trap. Motivation isn't unreliable because you're weak. It's unreliable because it was never meant to carry you through. Motivation gives you energy for a moment. Systems give you results for a lifetime. Here's another truth. The world will not wait for you to feel inspired. Life does not pause until you are motivated. Your responsibilities don't vanish. Opportunities won't align themselves neatly for your convenience. Every second you wait for motivation, someone else is moving forward. Someone else is building habits, taking action, creating momentum. And you're stuck in cycles. Starting, stopping, hoping, waiting, watching, wondering, asking yourself, why not me? Let me tell you something, motivation is a luxury, not a strategy. It is fleeting, comes and goes like the wind, and the moment it's gone, your plans crumble. That's why relying on motivation is like building a house on sand. It may look solid for a while, but the first wave of reality will wash it away. Now, I want you to imagine something. Imagine waking up every day and never needing motivation. Imagine a life where your actions are automatic, unstoppable, inevitable. Imagine a system so strong that it moves you forward whether you feel like it or not. That is what separates the people who fail from the people who succeed. That is what separates the dreamers from the doers. The Stoics understood this. Marcus Aurelius didn't rely on motivation. He relied on duty. He relied on a system of repeated action that made him powerful, disciplined, and unshakable. Epictetus didn't wait to feel inspired. He acted because he was a man of principle, a man of action. They understood that feelings are unreliable. They understood that if you tie your life to your emotions, you will always be controlled by them. Now, listen carefully. Motivation alone will never give you what you want. Motivation will never create consistency. Motivation will never build a life that commands respect. Motivation will never make you disciplined. It is a spark, but a spark cannot light a fire on its own. You need a structure. You need a system. Here's the practical truth. You don't need motivation to act. You don't need inspiration to start. You need rules. You need habits. You need a framework that forces you to act regardless of how you feel. That's what builds momentum. That's what builds confidence. That's what builds results. And here's what most people miss. You feel the lack of motivation because you're relying on it. You wait for energy instead of creating energy through action. You wait for inspiration instead of forcing discipline. And every day that passes without action, your mind convinces you it's normal to feel unmotivated. But it's not normal, it's a symptom of a weak system. Pause for a moment. Think about your life. Are you waiting for motivation to strike? Are you hoping you'll feel like doing the work today, tomorrow, or next week? And how long has that been going on? Weeks? Months? Years? Here's the brutal but liberating truth. You don't need to feel like it. You don't need inspiration. You don't need a surge of energy. All you need is a system, plan, a routine that makes action unavoidable. So here's the first step. Start small. Do one thing every day that moves you forward, no matter how small. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for energy. Don't wait for the right mood. Just act. Just start. And then do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. Because motivation is temporary, but action is permanent. Habits last. Systems compound. Discipline becomes your identity. And the longer you wait for motivation, the longer you delay the life you want. So listen carefully. Stop waiting for motivation. Stop relying on feeling inspired. Stop letting your energy dictate your results. Build a system. Act daily. Repeat relentlessly. And watch how your life transforms. Take a deep breath and commit to one action today. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel like it. Today. That is the first spark that cannot fade. The start of a fire that will carry you forward no matter what. Now listen closely, because this next part is crucial. Most people fail, not because they lack talent, not because they lack desire, not because they lack intelligence. Most people fail because they don't have a system. They rely on willpower, on motivation, on inspiration, on luck. And those things, motivation, inspiration, luck, they're fleeting. They're unpredictable. They come and go like the wind. A system, on the other hand, is unstoppable. A system doesn't care if you feel tired, distracted, or lazy. A system doesn't wait for energy or mood. A system is a structure, a framework, a set of repeated actions that moves you forward no matter what. That's why the most successful people in history didn't rely on motivation. They relied on structure, on systems, on habits. Take a moment and reflect on your own life. How many days do you wake up without a clear plan? How many mornings feel chaotic because you don't know exactly what to do first? How many times have you started a project only to abandon it midway because your day was off? This is the reality of living without a system. You're reacting to circumstances instead of controlling them. You're waiting for life to give you direction instead of creating it yourself. The Stoics understood this principle better than anyone. Marcus Aurelius didn't wake up hoping to feel inspired. He had a set routine. Epictetus didn't wait for circumstances to be favorable. He acted daily on what he could control. They built systems to eliminate indecision, to eliminate reliance on fleeting emotions, and to ensure progress every single day. That's why their lives, and the lives of those who follow these principles, achieve results that feel impossible to the average person. So let's break it down. A daily system isn't complicated. It doesn't have to be fancy. It's simply a framework of repeated actions that builds your life consistently. But to be effective, it must cover the full day. Morning, midday, afternoon, evening, and night. Each segment has a purpose, a rhythm, a reason to make you unstoppable. The morning is sacred. It sets the tone for the entire day. Without a system here, you start reactive, scattered, and behind. With a system, you start disciplined, focused, and ahead. Wake up at the same time every day, no excuses. Consistency builds rhythm in your body and mind. Even if you only sleep 6 or 7 hours, waking at the same time programs your internal clock for discipline. No phone for the first 30 minutes. This is critical. Avoid social media, messages, emails. External input steals your energy and focus. Protect your mind first thing in the morning. Meditation or reflection, 5 to 10 minutes. Sit quietly. Focus on your breath. Reflect on the day ahead. Ask yourself, what are my priorities? What will I do that matters today? Write down top 3 priorities. Not 10, not 5, but 3. What are the 3 tasks today that will move your life forward? Clarity reduces overwhelm and forces focus. Do the hardest task first, the task you're most likely to avoid. This is the Stoic principle of action before desire. You act because it is necessary, not because it feels good. The morning is your anchor. Master it, and the rest of your day follows. After your morning routine, your energy is high. This is your deep work window. The world will try to steal it. Email notifications, meetings, social media, distractions, all will demand your attention. A system protects this time. Deep work blocks, 60 to 90 minutes. Pick one high-impact task and work on it without interruption. No phone, no email, no excuses. This is your prime output window. Short breaks, 5 to 10 minutes. After every 60 to 90 minutes, step away briefly. Stretch, breathe, reset, but never dive into distractions. One big milestone per block. Each block should have a measurable goal. Finishing a report, completing a training module, sending out work, something tangible. This is the part most people fail. They let the day scatter them. But with a system, you gain momentum. Each completed task feeds your confidence. Each milestone builds momentum for the next. The afternoon is where discipline is tested. Energy dips, temptations rise, and without a system, this is where most people give up. Second deep work session, another 60 to 90-minute block. Focus on a secondary high-priority task. Handle minor tasks in batch, emails, calls, small decisions, batch them to reduce mental load. Resist comfort. The temptation to scroll, snack, or take long breaks is strongest now. Resist it. This is the training ground for your willpower. Physical activity, even a short walk, stretching, or exercise session rejuvenates your mind and body. The Stoics believed in maintaining the body as well as the mind. By now, you're moving steadily forward. You've acted despite fatigue. You've taken control. And the system keeps you progressing even when motivation fades. The evening is where the system turns work into wisdom. Reflection is critical. Without it, habits stagnate. Review your day. What did you achieve? What tasks did you procrastinate on? Where did you succeed? Journal insights. Write down what worked, what didn't, and why. Awareness creates improvement. Plan tomorrow. Set your top 3 tasks for the next day. Define the hardest one first. This primes your mind to start strong in the morning. Stoics emphasized reflection. Marcus Aurelius would write nightly about his actions, his failures, and his intentions for the next day. You're doing the same. Reflection turns a system from mechanical into intelligent. The system doesn't stop when the work stops. Recovery is part of performance. Consistent bedtime, sleep at the same hour every night. Rhythm builds energy, focus, and mental resilience. Digital detox. Avoid screens 60 to 90 minutes before bed. This improves sleep quality and prevents overstimulation. Wind down with reflection or reading. Read something that inspires growth or discipline. The Stoics read philosophy, history, and practical wisdom. Sleep is the final link in the system. Without it, energy, focus, and motivation collapse. The power of a daily system. Here's what you need to understand. Your daily system is a force multiplier. It takes your energy, focus, and discipline and compounds them. Motivation is fleeting. Systems are permanent. Habits don't need inspiration, they execute automatically. And here's the truth. Most people don't have a system, so they waste days, months, even years waiting for energy that never comes. But you don't have to. By committing to a structured day, morning, midday, afternoon, evening, night, you create a framework that guarantees action, builds momentum, and turns potential into results. Pause and reflect. Where in your day are you reactive? Where are you wasting energy on small, unimportant tasks? Where are you waiting for motivation? That's where your system begins. Build structure, follow it daily, and watch how your life begins to change. Pause for a second. Take a deep breath and really listen. This is where most people fail and where you can rise above them. You avoid discomfort. You delay what matters. You choose convenience over necessity. And every time you do, you weaken yourself. The small compromises you make today quietly compound into a life of regret tomorrow. The Stoics mastered this principle. Marcus Aurelius didn't seek comfort, he embraced challenge. Epictetus endured slavery and hardship, yet built an unshakable mind. They knew the truth. Growth lives in discomfort. Real progress is forged in resistance, in struggle, in choosing what's hard instead of what's easy. Think about it. What have you avoided? That difficult conversation, that challenging task, that morning routine you keep postponing. Each avoided challenge steals momentum and chips away at your potential. The pain you feel, the frustration, the tension in your chest, that's your mind signaling that change is possible. Here's the key. Discomfort is your ally. It's the training ground for discipline, resilience, and strength. Face it deliberately. Act even when it's uncomfortable. Make it a habit. Because the life you want isn't built in comfort. It's built by doing the things most people refuse to do. Ask yourself, what is one uncomfortable task you will face today? Do it. Don't wait. That's the difference between stagnation and unstoppable progress. Now that we've seen how discomfort shapes discipline, it's time to face another trap that keeps most people stuck. Obsessing over results instead of the process. You felt it, you work hard, give energy, push yourself, but the results aren't immediate. And that's where most people quit. But listen closely. There's a Stoic way through this. Here's the truth. Chasing results is the fastest way to frustration. You work hard. You do your best. You sacrifice. And when the outcome doesn't match your expectations, you feel defeated. You think, why am I not further ahead? Why isn't this working? That feeling is familiar to everyone, and it destroys consistency. The Stoics had a different perspective. Epictetus said, "Don't demand that events happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do, and you will go on well." The lesson is simple but powerful. Focus on what you control, your actions, your effort, your consistency. Not on what you cannot control, results, timing, or approval from others. When you obsess over results, you create stress, disappointment, and self-doubt. You begin comparing yourself to others. You let setbacks derail you. You stop taking action because the outcomes feel uncertain. But outcomes are always uncertain. Life is unpredictable. Success cannot be guaranteed in a single day or a single effort. What can be guaranteed is your repeated action, the system you build. Shift your mindset. Instead of measuring your worth by results, measure it by your consistency, focus, and daily action. If you follow your system, show up every day, embrace discomfort, and act on your priorities, the results will follow. Naturally, inevitably. Results are the byproduct, not the goal. Think about it. A farmer doesn't control the harvest, but he plants seeds, tends the soil, waters consistently, and protects the crops. His focus is the process, and the results take care of themselves. Your life works the same way. Focus on the seeds, the work, the process. Results are a consequence of disciplined action, not a cause of it. So here's the action step. Stop obsessing over outcomes. Stop letting temporary results dictate your effort. Start measuring progress by your commitment to your system, your routines, and your daily actions. Each small step compounds. Each repeated action moves you closer to the life you want. Remember, results are temporary. Process is permanent. Focus on your system, not the scoreboard, and watch how unstoppable you become. Now that we understand the trap of chasing results, there's an even deeper shift you must make. Most people fail not because of what they do, but because of who they believe they are. To truly succeed, you must change your identity, your sense of self, and align it with the life you want. Here's the brutal truth. You cannot achieve something if you are not becoming the type of person who naturally achieves it. You say you want success, wealth, discipline, or influence, but your habits, your routines, your daily choices reveal a different story. Your identity hasn't caught up to your ambitions. The Stoics understood this deeply. Seneca said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Excellence isn't a sudden burst of motivation. It's not a lucky break. It's who you are, embedded in your daily habits, repeated relentlessly until it becomes automatic. Ask yourself, if someone observed your day-to-day actions, what identity would they assign to you? Would they see a disciplined, focused, intentional individual or someone reactive, inconsistent, and distracted? Right now, your actions define your reality more than your words or intentions ever could. Changing your identity doesn't happen overnight. It starts with small, repeated actions that prove to yourself, moment by moment, that you are the kind of person who succeeds. You don't say, "I'm disciplined," and hope for the best. You act disciplined. You don't wait to feel confident. You build confidence through repeated competence. This is the subtle but powerful difference between dreamers and doers. Dreamers imagine who they want to be. Doers become who they need to be. Every choice, every habit, every disciplined action is a vote toward the person you are becoming. Miss too many votes and the old identity wins. Win enough votes consistently, and the new identity becomes undeniable. Here's your action step. Choose your identity deliberately. Decide today that you are not someone who quits when motivation fades. Decide that you are not someone who avoids discomfort. Decide that you are a person who acts consistently, focuses on process, and trusts the system. Then prove it daily. The moment your actions align with this new identity, the life you want stops being a dream. It becomes inevitable. Remember, who you are determines what you achieve. Change your habits and you change your identity. Change your identity and you change your life. Take a moment and reflect on everything we've covered today. Think back to the struggles, the moments of frustration, the times you felt stuck, waiting for motivation that never came. Think about the discomfort you've been avoiding, the systems you haven't built, and the identity you haven't yet claimed. Now imagine a different version of yourself. A version who wakes up every morning with clarity, focus, and purpose. A version who doesn't wait for motivation but acts anyway. A version who embraces discomfort because they know it's the training ground for strength. A version who focuses on the process, not just the results. A version whose habits and actions prove, every single day, that they are the person capable of achieving their dreams. That version is not imaginary. That version is waiting inside you. And the only thing standing between you and that version of yourself is one decision. The decision to commit to a system, to act daily, to choose the uncomfortable, to embrace reflection, to build habits that define your identity. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Today, I'm asking you the same thing. Stop arguing. Stop planning endlessly. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Take one action now. Do one thing today that proves to yourself who you are becoming. And remember, this isn't a one-time decision. It's a daily choice. Every morning, every task, every small win, every challenge faced. It all compounds into unstoppable momentum. That momentum will carry you past obstacles, past fear, past doubt, past the limits you once thought you had. So here's your next step. Start now. Build your system. Commit to it. Act, reflect, and repeat. The life you want is not waiting. It's being built in the choices you make today. If you're ready to take this further, consider subscribing to this channel, hit that notification bell, and watch the next video on your screen. Every insight, every step, every action will bring you closer to the unstoppable, disciplined, powerful version of yourself you've been waiting for. Your system is your power. Your action is your freedom. And your life is your masterpiece in the making.